decorum looks like and devoting ourselves to the rule of law and proper advocacy. I would urge everyone to keep those principles in their mind, starting with the fact that we won't talk over each other. And from there, we'll get through this. Ms. Merchant.
Thank you, Judge. How often did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, he's never been to? That's one lie you told me in the document.
I didn't ask her about that.
Ms. Merchant, I want you to ask a very precise question.
One lie.
Answering that you did not live with her, so why don't we break that up into smaller parts?
And I didn't ask about living.
But you put in your, while we're talking about professionalism, no, while we're talking about 3 different documents he lived with me.
Well, I want you to respond.
In
And file that with the court.
In 2019,
He's never been to South Fulton. In 2019, I lived in South Fulton.
Be Jizzle, what up, man? They going nuts.
In 2019.
She going hard, man. They trying to kick her out of office and put Trump back in office.
Anyplace. I lived in my home in South Fulton before I started getting the threats that were here. A house I paid for with my own sweat and tears. I'm no longer able to live there. But in 2019, I did. And in the 2 months of 2019 that I knew Mr. Wade, 3 months, the beginning of October, all of November, and all of December, Mr. Wade never came to my house in South Fulton. Let me help you out. I lived there in 2020. He never came to my house in 2020.
Bitch.
You lived with me, and you put falsely in these documents. In the first 3 months of 2021, when I could still enjoy my home, Mr. Wade never came to my home, and it is...
It's her versus Trump, man. I got every site on, man. I'm live on every site.
you said 2019.
Blame it on the drugs still, man.
At a place that
He
you
has never been to my home in South Fulton. 2020 was before I knew that a phone call was going to be made. And
Get your artists to me, man. I need your artists in my office, man.
He never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton.
That's where I lived in 2020.
20, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay, I don't understand you like that. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to.
Good looking, my baby. Get him with me, Jizzle.
My home in South Fulton he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, that's when I have to caution. That's going to be my first time out to caution. I'm going to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike the testimony. So we need to break this down. Mr. Merchant's question, I believe, was asking whether you lived anywhere other than South Fulton.
I did not live anywhere but South Fulton, Georgia in 2020. That was before I began my prosecution of this case, and it was my plan to only live there.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Miss Yuri?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did.
Yes.
Did he ever spend the night at that condo?
No.
Just visited.
Why I gotta stay the night?
Did you ever go out to eat together? Other than the lunch that you talked about during 2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been. Let me think, 2019. I'm gonna say, I don't know. I'm gonna say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seemed like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm gonna say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone, so I'm gonna say yes.
So outside of the vacations that we've already talked about, did you ever go out to dinner with Mr. Wade?
I mentioned to you that
I'm going to object as to what time period. We're asking very vague questions. I thought we were treating the witness as hostile under 611. We're no longer doing that. So we're going to go back and forth. We need to be more specific with our questions if we're going to treat her as hostile.
All right, Ms. Merchant, it's not so much. I think you can elect between leaving and open-ended questions, but I think we are still wondering about. And I think we need to get back on track of focusing on the financial benefit or the relationship.
And my next question about, if you did go out to dinner, who paid when you went out to dinner?
You paid, I paid. Okay, so let me be real clear. We didn't say, oh, the bill is $102. You give $51, I'll give $51. I don't operate like that with my girlfriends. I don't operate like that with anybody. He caught the bill, I caught the bill. Whomever.
It's in the budget.
Did you ever pay him through Cash App?
No.
You only ever paid him through cash?
Well, yes, but we're talking about, I'm very confused
You've
now.
never given Mr. Wade money through Cash App.
No,
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute.
That was cute.
What happened is, we're gonna answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not gonna get an answer.
And I'll ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash. Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you never
If we would go to
Let
dinner,
her finish her answer.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given cash only a few times in life, probably 4. Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Proof of any reimbursement for any of these things. It was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are you
question
telling
was, do
me
you
that
have
I'm
any
lying? Is
proof?
that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him
I mean,
any
the
money.
proof is what I just told you.
What's up, cuzzo?
Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card, in Belize. I spent 800, I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave them money for those before we ever left. Because they were pretty, let me answer.
Let me answer, bitch.
And so
I've answered you that I've had written
we can
proof
move to
of
the next question. If you've answered, if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises.
So then I asked if she gave him written proof.
You're not gonna talk over each other. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, so we can ask the next question. Ms. Willis, Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities to let you clarify answers when it's her turn.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
you understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record, other than your testimony,
Grade A.
of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through, however you pay.
Okay, so, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash, you still had that lien in 2022 when you were giving Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
Relates to why we need to pay.
Ms. Merchant, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
Did you say I did?
And you did not use this cash that you have to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No. I went shopping too and I didn't pay it all.
And you talked about, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors and the book Fani.
I would not not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them
No, no,
2 or 3 times.
My question is relevant as to.
I think it's already come up that finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Willis, you can continue your answer.
What came up with Mr. Wade is a hearsay statement that he was asked about in relation to what Ms. Willis may or may not have said in relation to an author. So it's not relevant to testimony that's current at this time.
I think Ms. Merchant has said that inside the book, she also makes statements as to her own finances, and that is.
So you gave interviews to the authors of this book, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay. And,
Just to be comprehensive, I don't know if it was 3 times, 2 or 3 times, I think.
you were quoted in the book, and I will give you a chance to say if this is a misquote. You were quoted, when they asked you about if you wanted to run for office for DA, you were quoted, "I really don't want to be financially effed up again." Do you remember saying that?
So what that refers to, so that.
My question first is if you remember saying that.
I remember saying something similar to that, but I would like to be able to explain what that's in
That's fine.
reference to. That's not, in reference to anything else. It was a huge sacrifice to be district attorney in Fulton County, huge. I was doing just fine. I had a municipal court judgeship that was paying me $100-something thousand a year, and like you gotta show up twice a week. Easiest thing I've ever done in life. I also had private clients that were, paying me to represent them. So I was able to have a law practice and that. Raising 2 daughters by myself, there were times in life where things were hard. And so I was telling people, I don't even run for DA. I don't want to run for DA. I'm in a good position right now. I got an easy job that I enjoy, being the chief judge at the city of South Fulton. I'm making money at a law firm, and I'm not sure that I want to make this sacrifice. And why does it always have to be me? Eventually I prayed. I think that I was the appropriate person. I think that I did that. So when you're referring to that, what I'm saying is, why should I make a sacrifice again? And what I was not talking about is being district attorney. Once you get elected district attorney, you're in a fine financial position. I make over $200,000 a year. What I was talking about is I ran for judge. When I ran for judge, I took $50,000 of my personal money out of my retirement. And that money ended up being lost. And I know when you bet on yourself, you're going to have to bet money on yourself. And so what I was talking about was not wanting to go through the personal financial expense of running for office. By no means did I think that I was going to be financially in a bad position once I won. Let's talk about what I was up against, because it's important to understand that comment. I had a district attorney who had been here for 24 years. And people, it's very relevant as to what my mindset was about this. So I'm trying to answer your question. So what I was saying is
Taylor, still into finance.
right, but it is about my finances. If nobody put me in this seat. So I had already run for office once. I had $50,000 of my own money running. And it was vamoose, nothing. And so when I'm talking to those offers, I'm talking about the contemplation of the sacrifice of the run, not the sacrifice of once you become DA. The odds were against me. I was likely going to lose the election based on who I was running against. So that needs to be in the appropriate context.
Isn't it true that the authors also wrote, and you can dispute this if you'd like, that you were broke after that race?
The 2018 race,
yes.
Yeah, that was a hard race. I wasn't broke like I didn't have any. So broke is relative to depending where you are, but that hurt to lose that $50,000. So I'm sure my mental mindset was like, I just gave $50,000 away.
Right. So they characterized it from their conversations with you that you were broke, you had poured your own money into the campaign, and you weren't able to pay your own bills because
Thanks for joining us. We
your
out.
clients couldn't pay their bills to you, and you had a paltry array of family and asset forfeiture cases. It says you were trying to make it month to month. Is that an accurate depiction of your financial situation at that point?
I would want to read that, but I don't remember clients not being able to pay their bills. So
May I approach, Judge?
you can.
You may.
Page 1.
I have not read this book. So like this fact here, her ex-husband Fred had run into a financial, I have no information about that.
I just asked about if you were, what they represent from their interviews with you, that you were broke and that you had clients that weren't able to pay their bills.
Can you show me where that is? Because this is where you put the tab, so that's where I read.
Broke, couldn't pay their bills.
Yeah, I'm sure I characterized myself as broke as leaving that $50,000. I don't know that I had, her nascent law practice at Treal.
Well, you just.
I didn't have,
Ms. Murphy.
I thought I had a law practice. So this is not correct. I'm sure it's just, I didn't have any asset forfeiture cases. So I had one case where they had took one of my clients' money at the airport. I don't know if that's what they're carrying. I don't know. Paltry array. I did have family law cases. I guess that's what they're talking about. And clients who couldn't pay their bills ain't clients, so no.
So my question was just if this was a fair and accurate representation where it says you were trying to make it month to month at that point.
No, I don't think that that is actually a fair and accurate representation, but I am certain that after the 2018 election, I'm still not really happy about having given up that $50,000.
You know when you paid your tax lien?
I don't.
You don't? Do you know if you paid it?
I know I've paid some taxes. I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Did you tell anyone at Fulton County Board of County Commissioners about your relationship with Mr. Wade?
No.
Did you disclose your relationship to anybody at Fulton County?
No, I don't think so.
And as the chief law enforcement officer of Fulton County, I assume that you're familiar with the county.
The county regulations.
Okay, I won't, let me ask you this then. So are you aware that you're required to disclose any relationship with someone that you contract with in Fulton County?
The court fire ruling this morning.
But would this be different because it's a potential for impeachment?
Yes.
What did you ask me?
Ms. Merchant, if you agree, ask the question.
Okay. Are you aware that Fulton County requires you to disclose any relationship with someone that you're doing business with?
I'm not aware, and I know often at times things are confused with state constitutional officers in county, but I'm not aware.
Okay, so it's not your, so it's your understanding that you don't have a duty to disclose the
She's
relationship?
answered that question. Let's keep going.
Did you keep track of this cash that you paid him at all?
What are you talking? I don't understand.
Did you keep track? Did you keep a ledger? Did you keep track of it?
So I've only given him cash, as I mentioned, 3 or 4 times. There's no ledger. This is friends handing money off to each other.
So the answer is no.
I think you've already asked whether there was any written proof whatsoever, and she's
Yes.
answered that.
Okay.
So we've covered this. Let's move on.
Who were you referring to when you suggested that Mr. Roman's motion to disqualify was racially motivated?
We already said we're not talking about the forensic misconduct that's been alleged.
And, okay,
And just so the record is clear, I don't believe I said that his motion was racially motivated, so I don't want that to stay there. I've never said his motion was racially motivated, so that should not be
Melissa,
true.
I think it would be best if we don't need to go down that road. We're going to say that.
you once said that you would not engage with a personal relationship with anyone that worked for Fulton County, is that correct?